Well, we have some basketball here tonight. It seems like it's been forever. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers Pregame show on a Thursday. As we welcome you all back, we have some hoops tonight, and we cannot wait to talk about it. Rich Hoffman, I'm Devon Givens, Bree with us as well. All of you, our pregame show is in fact presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Rich, 28 games left, man. They're riding a 5-game losing streak. I think people forgot about that part. 5-game losing streak, sitting at 20-34. And while we'll get to our pregame picks a little bit later, we'll give you the starters you expect for all the guys to be available tonight. They have a tough road ahead of them, but as we have been talking about for a majority of the season, as far back as they are still not completely out of it, especially when we look at the play-in tournament being a possibility and option for the Sixers and many other teams since they have incorporated this into the NBA playoff structure over the last couple of seasons. And on Thursday and Wednesday at practice, that was the theme from the players and from the coach of focusing in on the play-in. And that's where I wanted to start with you and everybody tonight, just looking at this basketball team and that being a focus right now. Once again, they are at 20-34 on the season. And with that record, 28 games left, but not too far back with Chicago being as bad as they are and the things that they are looking at currently right now. The Brooklyn Nets, they play the Sixers on Saturday, I believe it is. The Chicago Bulls on Monday. The Sixers play them, hosting both of those basketball teams. And as frustrating as that loss was to the Brooklyn Nets before the break on that Wednesday night, and that loss the night before that you and I talked about to the Toronto Raptors, if everyone's healthy with 28 games left, Derek said it yesterday that they have what it looks like the 5th best schedule going forward.
We said
the
that
remainder of the way.
It was better than that a couple games ago.
Yeah, and now we're lost. Exactly. So here we are now. It's not going to be easy starting tonight because they have the Celtics, but you are coming off the All-Star break. First game after the break last night was the Charlotte Hornets in Los Angeles, and the Charlotte Hornets clipped the Lakers, surprisingly, in LA last night. So as you said after the parade, nothing's possible, but on your Twitter account that blew up, things are possible when it comes to this game here.
Nothing is possible.
Nothing is possible. When we work together. So when you look at this, though, man, realistically looking at this basketball team, their focus is the play-in right now. How much of a chance do you give them of sneaking into the play-in? And is that the right approach? Should they be focused on that?
I know you and Derek were talking about this the other day. I'm going to be boring, man, and I'm going to tell you, I don't know. This team has put me in a spot where I do not know what the right answer is. And look, there are two schools of thought here, right? The first one is run through the tape, and even if you don't get that much, I mean, you would think if they ran through the tape, they would make the play-in some sort. Maybe they lose right away, but still, they're in a bad spot. But the reason that you run through the tape would be, okay, you can evaluate what this looks like heading into next year. You can learn a few more answers of guys like Quentin Grimes and Jared Butler, and you can see if Joel can get back in better form and maybe make wiser decisions in the offseason because you had this time. That doesn't sound great. I understand that, but that is one school of thought. The other one is the shut it down, John Taffer style, shut it the F down.
Yeah.
You're making people sick with this, like one of those failing restaurants on Bar Rescue. Those are the two schools of thought. I don't know what the right answer is. I truly do not. I think you made some good points about, maybe getting Embiid some rest, but even with Joel and his health, we have no idea what the right course of action is, in part because the Sixers are giving us conflicting information, right? You got Joel saying surgery. You got Daryl saying, okay, it'll be better in a couple of years when he's able to rest and get through this. It'll be strengthened, all of those things. So I do not know what the right answer is. I will say one thing to the side, because you mentioned the Eagles. They better be ready for a little more attention from the rest of the city. I think the Eagles gave them a nice gift throughout January and even into the middle of February here, where people were focused on the parade and all that stuff. they're going to start to get a little more attention for this bad season, and it's going to be a lot of people who are not like us, not like the people in the chat who've been, following this terrible season the entire year. So people are going to have their knives out to criticize this team. So they do need to be ready for that. Look, we're going to see option A tonight. We're going to see option A in that they apparently have all three of their best guys available. They're going to play. They're going to play one of the best teams in the league, the defending champions, and we'll see what.
Yep, and it starts tonight against a very difficult opponent in the Boston Celtics, who, for their standards, they have not been playing great basketball for themselves, and they're going to be looking to, all right, final stretch for them too, man, where they're going to try to come out here and start things off on the right track and get ahead of the Sixers right now, because Cleveland is in front of them in the Eastern Conference standings. And while they probably do not really care about their seeding because they know what it's like to get into the playoffs and do what they need to do, they still want to play their best brand of basketball. So what we get tonight is seeing the full complement of this basketball team, starting with your big three. We'll get to the starters a little bit later, but starting with them and getting an opportunity to see how Quentin Grimes fits into it. Jared Butler fits into it as well. We'd love to get your thoughts on him when we get to roles and rotations with him and how he fits into everything. But yeah, man, I mean, and look, I don't think it's a cop-out for you to say what you said, because we've only seen 16 games of Joel Embiid. So if he is going to be available outside of the 5 back-to-backs, we know he's not going to play in those 10 games. He's only going to play half of those. Outside of that, we don't know when he's going to miss some low management games. We don't know how he's going to look in the games that he does play. And we don't know how they're going to look when he is out. So I think it's real fair for you to sit there and say, I don't know.
I don't know.
But this is where they are, and they're not yet saying that, hey, guys, go up to Rutgers and check out the two lottery picks there, because they continue to tell us that they're going to try to play and try to put their foot on the gas and get into the play-in. Quentin Grimes said
nice
that.
Dylan Harper game last night.
Yeah, nice one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, couple crazy passes where you're like, all right, man, but hey, you're still only 18 years old. But yes, on what was it, Tuesday? Quentin Grimes said, we are a team that this is designed for. If we get in, first you got to win the first playoff or first 2 playing games to get into the tournament, into the entire playoff rounds overall. But we are that team. It's a great mindset to have. The players are not going to go out there and try to tank it, especially a player like him who wants to get an extension, get his contract redone in the offseason.
And he's a new guy who has played for a team that has mostly won this season and played pretty well.
Yeah. Too. But I'd imagine he also had a chance to sit back and look at what was going on the floor and was like, what the hell did I get myself into by being traded here? So I don't mind the mindset, because technically they are still in there. But to your point of me making an argument with Derek, the goal coming into the season now, and things have changed, so you adjust. But the goal was to win a championship. Yeah. This is not a championship.
No, it's not. I mean, the bar has been lowered to the floor at this point. So one thing I want to see from these guys tonight, Devon, right? Because we are going to get a game where they're going to try, they're going to have all their guys available. We'll see what it looks like. One of the disappointing things about this season to me is how poor Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George have functioned together on the court. Now, when I say poor, they're still, they're a plus 2.2 per 100 when all of those guys play. But the thing in particular that has lagged behind is that the offense has really struggled. Sure. And you look at Paul George and Tyrese Maxey's numbers when they play together, and Joel is not on the court. So that's a lot of Yabu minutes at the 5, and obviously they're not getting any stops when those guys play. But the offensive numbers are pretty good with those guys. But Joel plays, the only reason that they're above water is that the defense improves so much. And you just thought heading into this season, these are 3 guys who are going to function really well together, right? You have Paul George, who is a willing 3-point shooter, somebody who can make plays off the dribble, but also can function as an off-ball spacer and be on the weak side when you run that 2-man game with Joel and Tyrese. That has not happened so far this year, man. They are a well below average team offensively when the 3 of those guys are on the court together. And that's got to change at some point. That's got to get a whole lot better. Paul George kind of stepped in it a little bit, I would say, when he mentioned that playing with Joel Embiid is a new challenge for him, and it's not It's not the first time that Podcast P has stepped in it a little bit. He doesn't really have a filter when it comes to saying the stuff that you shouldn't probably say out
loud. And you don't mind it as you want your athletes to be honest, right? But man, he keeps stepping in it. Go ahead.
And if you look at the numbers when those play together, PG is very uninvolved, right? Like there was a stretch in, let's call it early December, and even the stretch right before he got hurt when he came back as well. When he's playing with Maxey, he started to figure out a few things where, I can get to the mid post. That's not like the greatest offense in the world, but he can soak up some possessions for you, starting to make more threes in January as well. It really has not worked that well when the three of them have played together. And you understand that to a degree because, hey, that's three ball dominant guys. Three guys, in PG's case, less ball dominant, but three guys who are kind of learning how to play together. But man, you would just hope that the talent would overwhelm those issues. And, fine, it might feel a little clunky, but the talent would just eventually win out and they would be good. They have not been good so far offensively. Now, Joel has stabilized things on the defensive end compared to the rest of the team, but that stuff's got to get better. And tonight's their first chance.
Has to. So as we kind of keep it in the roles and the rotations of where things are right now for this team coming out of the All-Star break, you get the acquisition of Quentin Grimes, which we talked about on draft night. On trade day. We get the Jared Butler piece of it where we didn't really have a chance to talk much about him. We talked enough about him, but not a lot. And then we also get the Lonnie Walker piece where it's not official yet. Your thoughts on all three of those guards coming in here now, fitting in. Eric Gordon is out still with the wrist injury now. So
seems like that thing might linger a little bit.
It might, yeah, because Nick Nurse said pregame that when I was looking at Kyle's tweet that they've looked at two specialists and they don't have an answer. That's not good. That is not good for a guy who simply, look, everybody relies on their wrist, but at his older age, he's there to shoot the basketball. And even though he shoots with one hand, you need both to be able to shoot the way you shoot, form, everything, guide hand, and still get the good shot off, make passes. That's not good to hear that. But with that said, you do have some younger reinforcements in both Quentin Grimes, Lonnie Walker, once we finally get that made official, and then the Jared Butler piece. So where do you see those guys fitting into rotations for Nick Nurse's group, especially right now with a player like Eric Gordon, who was in the rotation, seemingly going to be out for a little bit?
Throw him out there, man. And I'm excited to watch it. I thought your comments on Lonnie Walker the other day when it happened on the live pod were spot on. Just get a guy in here with some athleticism, some shot creation. Is it going to change the big picture outlook of this team? No, but I am excited after watching a lot of old guards play this year. And in fairness to EG, I know some people don't like when I call him EG, but it's stuck in my head now. So I have
rolls off the tongue.
Have given him that nickname. With the initials. Well,
it's not commissioner, so.
Oh, I don't like that one. No, that one's not good. But I enjoyed watching him play over the last month, right?
Yeah.
When he's making those threes and he's making those super deep shots, he has that old man dribble drive game that, he's starting to make some plays. Like you could function. Part of the reason that Tyrese Maxey took off over the past month, I would say, is that Eric Gordon was stroking threes, right? And he was providing better spacing. Okay, all that said, all of those nice things I said about Eric Gordon, I do like that they have three guys in their 20s right now.
Yeah.
Come in here, more athleticism. All three of them offer a degree of shooting. I mean, Lonnie Walker is a 36% three-point shooter in his NBA career, but he takes a ton of them, man. Like he gets them up, and I respect that. That's good,
that's
right?
What you want.
That's like a league average three-point shooter on a bunch of shots. And you got to hope that he kind of gets the Kelly Oubre from last year effect, where he comes in here, he's been maybe humbled a bit because he had to go over to play in the mean streets of Kaunas, Lithuania. I don't say that, but now he's back in America, and he's got another chance in the NBA. He clearly is an NBA level talent, 100%. Like some guy.
I was stunned that Boston didn't find a way to keep him on that roster.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised by that too. And he was a guy, even when he was playing on those weird Nets teams the last few years, it's like, yeah, he's an NBA player. Anyway, I'm excited to watch all three of these guys because we have just seen a very old, unathletic backcourt outside of Tyrese Maxey for the most part this year. And now you get some youth and athleticism in here. And, Grimes is an interesting player. He's going to be playing for a contract, like you said. I've enjoyed watching him. Like, his dribble drive game. I feel like he's got a little more than we even thought. It's not something you want to give him the ball the entire game, but he finishes his first stint with the Sixers with a huge night the other night in Brooklyn. Jared Butler is a guy who he's like crafty, man. I just enjoy watching.
He's a scorer.
Yeah.
Score. He's not a point guard. He's a scorer. Yeah, and he can handle the ball and run an offense, but he can score.
And I just enjoy he's crafty, man. Obviously he's got a little bit more athleticism than we've seen from a lot of these guys, but he's got like some head fakes. He's doing like the Smitty, the fake move. He's crafty. So I enjoy watching him. Yeah. And I think as far as end of roster management goes, sure, bring those guys in, convert them to regular contracts in the form of Jared Butler, which they also did with Justin Edwards, who I think Jeannie said was finally initiated to the team because he is now injured for the next 2 games. And his absence will factor into that 365 pregame pick that we do tonight. But yeah, I am certainly excited to watch those 4 guys. And it's like, regardless of what the Sixers do, let's say they end up shutting Joel down. Let's say this next week or so becomes a disaster. You still want to see those 4 guys play. You want to see Tyrese, and you want to see the 3 new guards that they brought in. Let's see what they have. Hopefully, maybe one of them sticks for the long term. Maybe 2 of them stick. But let's see it. And I think this last third of the season will be a nice time for the Sixers to evaluate.
Yeah, and I was talking about Jared Butler the other day, even just now with Rich, where I say he's a scorer. He's not necessarily a passer. He had 9 assists in that Brooklyn game. Didn't score, didn't shoot the ball well, he was like 2 for 9 or something like that. He wasn't really good from the field, but he assisted the basketball, as we talk about. That helps when you have Kelly Oubre and both Quentin Grimes dropping 30 each in that game. So, but he's very interesting because we all saw him. Well, many of us saw him at Baylor when they were making their championship runs and how well they were, how well they played. They were really good. But
he was best college teams of the past.
Yeah, he was one of the better players from that team, if not the best. And he's a smaller guard. And sometimes those smaller guards who are not necessarily special, they have to go and bounce from spot to spot to spot, organization to organization to organization to really find their role. And Utah, it didn't work. They were in their situation. It just didn't work. Washington, he got some minutes and all. And we saw the 24-20 that he scored against the Sixers. And maybe that even opened their eyes a little bit in bringing him in as that two-way player that they did. But he is one that I just think Grimes is going to stick. I think they'll find a way to pay him if the money works. He can fit. I want to see what the Jared Butler piece looks like because, yeah, Jared McCain is going to come back and both he and Tyrese Maxey are going to be your guys.
That's true.
But as we keep talking about going down the roster and Reggie Jackson sitting down there, as much as we love Kyle Lowry, it might be time. So wouldn't it be better if you had still young enough, a guy who's in your system now playing in 30 games to close out the regular season, maybe a playoff appearance as well. They've already changed this two-way to a standard NBA deal where, hey, you get a really good look at this guy, exactly what it looks like when it comes to him. So I'm very curious to see where he does fit in the rotation. And Nick Nurse did say as much yesterday at practice when Kyle was there that now he's most likely going to be the one that's going to get those minutes coming off the bench.
No, and that's good.
And he should. Over Jeff Doughton, too, by the way.
And let's see what those guys have. I mean,
he's better than Jeff Doughton.
I think this is what we have seen from a lot of this year when it comes to evaluating Daryl Morey and this, what has been a disaster of a season so far, to be frank. Some of the back-end roster stuff is pretty good, right? Getting in Yabu on August 15th, that's a good signing. We'll see if they can re-sign him, but nice job there. You mentioned Jared McCain. That's a bummer because he got hurt and he was playing so well, but clearly it looks like they found somebody who should have went much higher than the pick he went at in that NBA draft. And now this was late in the season. You know, Derek was pining for them to use this 15th roster spot, and it required some bad, some annoying salary dumping and ducking of the tax. But I like some of the stuff they've done at the bottom of the roster. But even if you give him, B's, B pluses, even A's on some of these moves, it's like when you're in school, these are like pop quizzes that are like 1% of your final grade.
Right.
And the stuff, the final exam, the stuff, the group project that you work on for 3 months that is your final grade, that stuff has not gone well.
Mm-hmm.
Just hasn't.
Yep. No, it hasn't, man. And just to add one more to it before we get to the starters, Shams Charania of ESPN reported earlier today that the Sixers were signing Alex Reese to a 2-way contract. Reese spent time with the Oklahoma City Thunder this year, and because of his G League stint as well, they decided to give him a look with the 2-way contract. So Justin Edwards already converted. Same thing with Jared Butler, converted. Jeff Doughton is still sitting on his 2-way contract. Now you have Reese, and you've also, am I missing one? Lonnie Walker is going to be on the standard NBA deal for the rest of the year. So am I missing anybody?
I got it right now.
With the 2-way contracts. It's 3 slots, but still.
Only those two.
Only those two. Okay.
So they have a third one.
Yeah, so Jeff Doughton and Alex Reese. Stretch big, shoot the basketball. They're going to give him a look. Okay, cool. Sure.
I don't know. It's weird. As much of a sicko as I am, it's very rare for them to sign a guy where I'm like, I don't know who that is. But apparently he's a very good shooter, and we'll see. Maybe he gets some time. If they go into shut it down mode, into tank mode, I imagine we'll see him in late March, early April. We'll get some time. Who knows? Maybe he'll surprise us.
Yeah, he's a big that can shoot. That's what he's out there for. We keep asking for one of those somewhere. Hey, you find them. Miami finds them. Cleveland finds them. You find them. Boston finds them. Your turn, Daryl Morey. All right, let's get to the starters here tonight. See what they have, because I want to get Rich's thoughts on this, which is you have Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, Kelly Oubre, as we know. But oftentimes it has been Justin Edwards who's out. But it has also been Gershon Yabusele in that fifth starting role. Quentin Grimes gets the nod, and this is what we said we wanted to see. Him with Tyrese Maxey in the backcourt, but also with those others, because he does have defensive chops. And when you do have him on the wing with the other two, similar to Caleb Martin has a better defensive profile, but Quentin Grimes is no slouch out there either. That's pretty good out there. So what do you make of this starting lineup? To specifically the Grimes piece, because he gets to run with the first 5.
Feels like a decent matchup against Boston because they play 4 guards and wings. And then Porzingis, that's a team that you have to switch a lot against. That's a team that really, they're shooting more threes than anybody in NBA history. And that's a little bit of a stretch to say that, because everybody's shooting more threes than anybody in NBA history. But they lead the league in threes attempted. They really do live and die by that 3-point shot, and they really stress your defense in terms of your perimeter defense. And as we saw a couple weeks ago, man, right? They really struggled from the 3-point line. Sixers built that huge lead, and then the second half felt like they made every single shot, and they were able to close the deficit. So I like playing Grimes against
so do I
against who's that? Like Derek White, maybe little Drew Holiday. But maybe he gets the switch with PG and Kelly. I have no problem with that.
Yeah. So Yabusele comes off the bench. And if everybody's healthy from Drummond, Yabusele, and Bona, you would think that he would still get those first 5 behind Joel. And now you're looking at just simply coming off the bench right now, Yabusele, Butler, and let's say Drummond behind him. But Ricky may also be in there in the mix as well with one of the wings with Justin Edwards out. So right now, that's probably your 9.
Yeah.
Right? Without Lonnie Walker, that's probably your 9 today.
Yeah, I think Ricky probably gets those minutes.
The wing minutes. Yep. Okay. So, look, I'm with it. Rich is with it. Let's have at it. Igavini asked, what starting lineup is this? And I said to him, and I said to Igavini in the chat, I believe it's the 34th starting lineup of the season. This is also game number 55. So 34 different starting lineups in 55 games, Rich. That's the season.
Not ideal. It's a lot. I wonder what the record is. You think a team ever went like 78 of 82?
Like a bad rebuilding tank type team like the Sixers.
Yeah, like the Sixers those 3 years. Yeah. I wonder what the record is. We'll look that up, and we'll get back to everybody post-game.
All right, the big fella, back. What are you looking for him tonight? from him? Normal stuff?
Again, better.
He's out there. Again, so we don't want to hear anything about a knee. He's out there.
Again, better offense, right? How he works with PG. I think he and Maxey need to try and get PG going. Although, that was such a disappointing game, Brooklyn game the other night. Dude, should he even be playing, though?
That's what I said, right, Rich? 2 points. You took 7 shots, 1 for 5 from 3.
Is the hand hurting you that much? Which, okay, fine, and that stinks, but I also am thinking like, well, if you're not capable of getting those shots up, then you probably need to sit down.
Right.
Again, another time where it's like all season, you want to criticize people, but they're also hurt, and it's like trying to balance those two things has been very difficult. Because
and you try to balance the playmaking too, because, all right, cool, he's going to try to playmake. You don't have the horses where they're going to score off of your passes, your assists to get those numbers up there, to get the requisite points that you need for it to be impactful. So you have to find a way you're fighting through it, out there playing 35, 36 minutes. You got to play, man. You got to score more than 2 points.
If you're playing 36 minutes, you got to do a whole lot more than what he did the other day. I don't know. Is he capable of it? But yeah, man, let's see these guys. It's funny, Devon. One of their best games when all 3 guys were available was in Boston on Christmas, where they won that game. Now, there's a guy who is not on the team anymore who had a nice night there, so they don't have him. So maybe Grimes can take over for Caleb Martin as the Boston killer. But yeah, I'd like to see them, functioning better, especially when it's those top 3 guys, because we talked about in that Raptors game right before the break, like they were just hemorrhaging points early in the first quarter, early in the third quarter. When you have Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and Paul George, the blueprint here, the one that Daryl Morey envisioned, was that you would get out the leads at the beginning of games, and that has not happened as much. Does it happen tonight? We'll see.
And if Tyrese Maxey is playing, we are to just simply guess that his knee is okay. Yeah. He missed the Brooklyn game, did not play well at all in that Toronto game. So we'll see if he's out there. We assume that he's fine.
Tyrese, don't be hurt. We're dealing with way too many injuries and way too many things. You are our consistent. You're our consistent star, man. You gotta shake that off. So hopefully he's okay.
Yes.
Hopefully PG, his finger, his pinky, whatever it is, got a little bit better with those pina coladas on the beach. And I mean, did the pina coladas actually help? No, but maybe the sheer rest.
Everybody needed a rest.
Just getting a week off.
We just didn't need to see those pictures. That's all.
And I think what people have speculated is that it's called mallet finger, where it's basically one of those things where you just got to keep that thing in the brace for like 6 months, or not 6 months, 6 weeks.
That's why I said, far be it from me, I'm not out there playing, and they have a great medical team. Should he tape him instead of having the one by itself? I know that both are uncomfortable, but is it helping maybe a little bit more with it being taped together versus just having that one out there and you keep pulling on the splint to make sure it's fitting properly and all that stuff? Just, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's better. All right, let's get to the pregame pick segment brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whether the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And right now at Bet365, if you go on to their app like we do, get 30% off. I mean, you get a 30% profit boost on your parlay bet there. So let's see what we have for our picks. This pick segment. Oh, look at you. 7+ rebounds for Kelly Oubre, huh?
I think so, man. There are a couple reasons for this. For one, as we talked about, Justin Edwards is out tonight. So really, your only 2 wings that are definitely going to be in the rotation. I think Rick is going to be in the rotation as well. But we know that Nick doesn't love playing Rick super heavy minutes, and Rick could do something boneheaded and take him out. Anyway, Kelly Oubre is going to play a lot of minutes tonight alongside Paul George. So he's going to play. That's going to give him a lot of opportunity. The other reason, Devon, is that, he's going to get probably the Tatum matchup, but he's going to be on the perimeter a lot as well. And the Celtics shoot more threes than anybody. That means a lot of long rebounds. I think some are going to bounce out to Kelly. He's a pretty good rebounder anyway. That's why I am seeing 7+ rebounds. That one stood out to me.
I do like that one. Folks, make sure you pay attention to that. What's that plus numbers right there? And for me, I went with, that's plus 105 for Rich, 7+ rebounds. For me, I went with Tyrese Maxey over 5.5 assists. He has another shooter out there, and Quentin Grimes. Of course, Joel Embiid is out there on the floor as well. And so I like that number. And then I also went with Derek White over under 13.5 points. Rich, he averages 16. I'm like, what are we doing here? Yes. Let's Let's go with that one. That's a plus 210 at Bet365. So again, if you decide you want to combine those, you get a little bit of a profit boost with 30% at Bet365 with their 30% profit boost. Our pregame picks, again, brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Remember, you must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Can they get off to a good start? Second half of the season for them. Only 28 games. It's not 41-41. 28 games left. Big push here for the Sixers. We'll be back after the game to discuss whatever happens. It's a nationally televised game. They're about to get underway. So we're going to step away, get ready to watch the game with all of you. We'll be back after the game to discuss it here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. We hear from Kyle and Derek from the arena. Talk to Rich and myself and Bree. Mark Stein is going to join us post-game as well to discuss some things with the Lonnie Walker news with the Philadelphia 76ers. So everybody, thank you to Bree, all of you. For Rich, I'm Devon. We'll see you after the game. Sixers Celtics post-game right here on the PHLY Sixers post-game presented by Bet365. Enjoy.
We all silly like the mayor.